So hi, I'm Derek Earl, he, him, and I'm located in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
So what brought you into the climate movement? What is your climate why?
So for me, I got into the climate movement, I think gradually. As I was younger, I think I'm not somebody who would have defined myself as like an environmentalist or an activist, really by any stretch. But just over a number of years, as I became to get more aware, more educated in terms of what was happening with respect to climate change, really the climate crisis, I just became more and more concerned about this. And I just had this growing feeling of like, okay, I need to do something. And it just got to the point where I was looking for opportunities to get involved. And also that really, like, given the point in time we're at and the kind of state of the climate crisis today, this is the area where I want to spend, my working days, and as much as I can, kind of the balance of my career really will overlap with, some of our best window to act on this. So just decided had to get involved at some point.
Yeah, it's definitely an urgent crisis. We completely understand that perspective. So how long have you been a climate reality leader, and what motivated you to apply for the training?
So I did my training in Minneapolis in 2019. And this was kind of in that time period where I was reading a lot, I was networking, I was trying to figure out how to get involved and what I could do. And so I came across the Climate Reality Leadership Core training through the website or social media. And so I said to myself, if this ever comes like to my region, I should make a point of going to this training. And I swear a couple weeks later, I see the announcement come up that it's being hosted in Minneapolis, which is, 7-hour drive or so from Winnipeg. I thought, okay, this is a sign, because it's probably not going to come any closer than this, unless we actually host it in my city. So I said, okay, we're going to do it. And I called up a friend and arm twisted her to come down, make the drive, and said, we should go do this thing. And did the 3-day in-person training.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's definitely fate how you were, asking to have it close by.
Yeah, I was like, I better take my own advice and do this.
So what is the most challenging part of your advocacy work, and how has the Leadership Core training or the Climate Reality Network overall helped you overcome this challenge?
Well, it helped a lot. And I really do attribute a lot of what I do now to participating in that training. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been going through a process of educating myself. I was networking, I was meeting with people who are locally involved, working on issues of climate change from different perspectives. And I work in the business community. I was involved in economic development and trade and export, and worked with companies all the time, doing advisory work with companies. I went to, coming out of the training, like I say, I think I got to a point where I was feeling fairly well educated on a lot of the basics, understanding of climate change, the science, and really starting to follow what was happening in terms of trends. But the one thing I wasn't really doing was taking action. I was like, I'm educating myself, but I'm really not still acting. And I don't know if it took, there was something to overcome, or to just get out there and to start doing it. But coming out of that training, spending 3 days with 1,200 people, professionals from all walks of life, all across North America, who were, really taking a lot of commitments and seeing what they could do and what we could start and how we could take action. And this kind of active leadership, was one of the big mantras coming out of it. What's your active leadership? And so that really, I think, motivated me to go, okay, I got to raise my game on this. I got to get out there and do something. And so my colleague, we went down together. We had now a 7-hour drive home to digest all this, right? And so our car ride on the home, and okay, what's your active leadership? What's yours? And what we ended up doing was starting an initial campaign. We said, let's do one action, and let's see if we could get some businesses to declare their support for climate action. I was seeing a big gap in this space. I've been meeting all the environmental groups, but never any businesses there. And I've been talking to businesses throughout my day job, lots of concern, but not engaged in anything. Right. So there was something to do, and it happened to be a timing of a provincial election. So a timing when you can use that for advocacy, right, and to get a little attention and traction around issues. So the two of us drafted a letter and we got 80 plus companies to sign their names onto this. And we gave ourselves about 3 weeks in the lead up. And we sent it into all the party leaders. We sent it to media. We got some good media coverage. We got interviewed. We got on the morning talk shows. All about this, all these local businesses kind of declaring their support for climate action. And so that was like a first real step. And that was directly kind of attributed to, okay, we got to do this, like some sort of active leadership and test ourselves. There was also, like I was having this idea that there's this role to play to get businesses engaged as advocates. And so that was a bit of a litmus test as well. And so coming out of that, we had good success. We had a base of companies, and we said, we don't have a vehicle. So that's what we developed and turned into and founded this BizforClimate. So over the past couple of years, we've continued on in a similar vein. Like we no longer have a letter, but we drafted a climate action pledge. And so we now have almost 170 companies that have signed their names onto this climate action pledge. And we're using that to take that message to policymakers, locally, municipal, provincial, and federally, and to network, and to also advocate to existing business organizations, chambers of commerce, industry association, and let them know that the tides are turning in terms of where the businesses are at, and that they should raise their game as well in terms of advocating for climate policy. And so that's what we've been working on. And so back to your point about what's the biggest challenge, we're doing all this in a volunteer capacity, on top of our day jobs and on top of running businesses in the case of our board members. So the biggest challenge now is that we've had some good success, but we've actually now outstripped our capacity to do this as volunteers. So it's trying to now keep up with this good momentum that we started here and find a way to take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's really amazing work. And I'm sure it would be amazing if you could, do this at a federal level if you ever get that capacity from volunteers or other people in different provinces to help support this initiative, because I think it's definitely very important.
Well, I completely agree. And we are federally incorporated as our not-for-profits. We are mostly concentrated in Manitoba, just where our the initial network is and where our organic growth is. And so the plan is, let's prove out this concept, let's build our capacity, and then as opportunity permits, let's look at expansion. But we have a winning formula here, and it would not take much to start a chapter somewhere else and to get another group getting businesses signed on. We operate virtually, so if there's any climate reality leaders out there who are looking for opportunities to get involved with the business community and get businesses in your network engaged, contributing to this climate advocacy we're trying to do, doors open. We're always looking for help and welcome it.
So what is your favorite part of the climate work that you do, and what motivates you to continue?
My favorite part is getting out there, talking to businesses, talking about this issue, raising awareness, hearing all the concerns that are out there. And I think there's a lot of perceptions that, all business or all industry is sort of painted with the same broad stroke as all part of the problem. But there are a lot of very progressive and conscientious business owners and entrepreneurs out there who really do want to be part of the solution. So being able to bring more and more of those businesses together and build some momentum and have people supporting what we're doing, that's very exciting and very encouraging. And what motivates me to continue, I think we started something, but probably at the end of the day, it goes back to, we have a pretty narrow window to meaningfully make the type of change that we need to do for the long run. So I've got young kids, I've got a family. I look ahead to the future, and we'll see, if we succeed or not at the end of the day. But, when I look back on things, I at least want to be able to say, you know what, I did what I could in the time that I had.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure there'll be people reaching out about opening a chapter. So I'm looking forward to that.
We, like I say, we welcome any inquiries or contact. We're at bizforclimate.com. You can check us out and all the businesses that are stepping forward to help drive this movement. And we'd love to hear from anyone, or to volunteer or just get some more information. It'd be a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.